Hello everyone, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. We'll be continuing where we left off with some new missions. Alright, and after a little bit of upgrading and gathering some contracts, we are left with this shuttle named the Tobias. It is a two-stage to orbit that is going to get us to the Mun and land on the Mun. What you see here for the third stage, it's just to complete a contract. There's nothing special about it, just minuscule contracts mainly for money. So let's launch. As you can see, blowing up there was just part of our contract of testing a stack separator. We got that contract and we're done with it. Our next contract requires us to have these parachutes at this height going between 30 and 200 meters a second. For this I am going to have to slow down my engines. These engines are just a little bit too powerful. Start slowing down here because we're reaching the upper ends of our speed limit. And there's the contract. So we'll just speed up and continue our burn. Angle ourselves a little bit better. Don't need to see that. There's the contract. And this stage is just two of those Maverick rockets. It wasn't really a necessary thing, but I thought it looked nice to have a wider base on this rocket. Again, it's just an aesthetics thing. Alright, and we've spent all our fuel in this stage, but we're going to hold on to it till we're above 30,000 meters, just because otherwise these parachutes are going to deploy and break, and I think that has something to do with the recovery mod, stage recovery. So we'll just launch now, and or ignite those rockets, not launch. We've already launched. And we'll just continue to get ourselves more circularized. This, of course, being the choice favorite, the Vesta VR1. Always like using that for the upper stage to get out of the atmosphere. Of course, as our rockets get bigger, we're going to have to switch to something else. Deploy that and just show you our little lander rover here. Again, using the Universal Science mod. It's just a simple rover. All it needs to do is collect some science. I'm sorry, I think I said rover. Lander. We're almost out of the atmosphere. This stage is almost spent. It's not quite enough to get us circularized, but it'll get us pretty close. And there's that stage spent. We'll kick that off. And this stage here is going to actually get us to the Mun. We might actually be able to do a burn. No, I think we already passed our burn. We'll see what we can do here. See how close we get. Yeah, in order to correct our burn, we'd have to spend. Well, we could do it. Spend most of our delta V and we'd probably have to burn relatively soon here. Activate the engine. Also extend these solar panels. It's got these nice big solar panels. Alright, and we'll start our launch. Stage recovery. Recovered our first stage. Gave us back 11,000 funds. In this stage here, it's mostly just meant to get us to the Mun. That's why I'm not so worried about us burning up this extra fuel. This is an inefficient launch to the Mun. Wait until we get our orbit. Alright. So we're left with 91 meters per second in this stage of delta V. Again, this just being the LV909. It's a good engine to use for quick burns. We'll just warp out. So now we're on what looks like a straight shot into the Mun for the most part. Since we are here, let's log all these. Of course, we don't need temperature. We can reset that. Send that one, and the pressure data, we'll take that. And we'll keep the pressure data because it looks like we're not going to be able to transmit it all. Actually, no, we'll transmit the data. And that completes one of our contracts. We had to get data from around the Mun. Toggle our sensors, close them. And so here we are. We're just gonna make a quick inclination adjustment burn. It's just setting up the maneuver node here and tweaking it a little bit to get it just how I want it. We'll just do that burn now. It's a rather small burn. There we go. So now what we'll do is we'll keep ourselves pointed in this direction, and we will just oh, I forgot to add in a decoupler here. Well, isn't that something? Adjust our staging here a little bit. Stage the rest of that. This is gonna be a rather long burn. I lost a lot of delta V because of this stage being attached. I can't jettison the engine. That's a shame. Sometimes you can jettison them. Just do a little time warping here. We're in low space, so we'll just deploy all. Alright, and we'll transmit that one. We'll keep the one. reset that one, transmit the temperature, and also transmit the pressure. Where's that satellite? Alright, so we'll try and aim for this crater. Again, I'm pretty sure we're not going to have the Delta V to land it. I do have Planet Shine on. This just kind of helps see a little bit better. I don't have it on too much. Realistically, you wouldn't be able to see anything. We're just performing our burn. And there we go. It's fairly close. So now from here we're just basically just gonna kill all our vertical velocity, or horizontal I mean. And that's gonna be more delta V than we have. So yeah, we're not gonna be able to land this on the Mun. I'm thinking what we're going to do here is we're going to cut our losses. I'm going to observe the other bay. We're going to keep that data as well. We'll close all this stuff back up. And now we'll go for a return. So I can't warp any faster than this. Oh, passed our burn already. We at least entered into orbit, so I believe that all these missions actually paid for this craft, so we're not gonna take a hit at the very least. Speed this burn up. Just warp to our escape. Alright. Got that contract for escaping the influence of the Mun. So now what I want to do want to start decreasing that. Got nice particle reentry here. Warp ourselves till we're out of the atmosphere. Time accelerate. There we go. So it looks pretty good. The planet's going to rotate a little bit. I'm hoping that we compensated for that. We will just warp till we're back almost into orbit. Okay, well, I guess we already passed Kerbin. Let's get as close as we can. Burn off our remaining Delta V, and this is going to be a horrible descent into the atmosphere, but it'll work. There we go, we'll just ditch that stage. So once again we just speed up through this descent. As you can see, we got a little bit of particle reentry effect. It was a steeper ascent. I was a little worried about maybe a little overheating from our sensitive science experiments, but as you can see, we plummeted through just fine. No heat shield required, and we just ended up splashing into the ocean. Alright. So we landed successfully. No surprise there. I believe we got, yep, an achievement for return from a flyby and return from orbit. We didn't exactly do a flyby, but I guess we kind of did. We'll just recover. And so we begin our launch of the Tobias Mark II. This is pretty much the exact same thing. I added the decoupler, and I got a new contract to complete along the way of just testing out a parachute. So this is technically still a two-stage, but it's got that third quote-unquote stage. This one I won't have to throttle back my engines. At least I shouldn't have to. It's a relatively low. In fact, we already got it. So we just launched those parachutes. That's all they were, was just parachutes. We'll just continue to burn. So, I just decided to time warp through the rest of this launch. It's pretty much the exact same thing that we launched just previously. The only difference, of course, being the decoupler. And we just separate the stages as normal. I believe I turned shallow and had a much shallower ascent, which resulted in us getting almost completely to orbit without having to do a circularization burn. There we go. That's circularized. Wasn't too worried about it. Believe our maneuver node's going to be right about here. Nope, looks like it's going to be forward more. and we do our burn. And we get our encounter. Alright, so we're going to do most of this burn at night. But we're going to start now just to spin up this last stage. I actually don't want to burn any more of that stage just because of how far up we are already in our periapsis. So we just detach it, and that'll go down to the planet, I believe, or satellite. Let's see. Apparently it's not, but we'll see. I don't generally like to leave debris, but in this case we don't really have much of a choice. So we just activate our next engines and get ready for our burn. And start. This is going to be a long burn, so I'm just going to time warp. Alright, we're reaching the end. As you can see, we're just going to slowly make our descent down. And right about there. That looks like a nice trajectory. Just have to slow off most, if not all, of our vertical or horizontal again velocity. And we begin our burn. So this is going to be rather long. So once again, in post-edit time warp, this was a just a pretty long burn, and you get the convenience of not having to sit through it. What we're just doing here is just killing off all our horizontal speed, or as much of it as we can, before we have to start killing off our vertical as well. So the nice thing about the player landing gears, and the nice thing about this is it predicts my impact time, and it predicts how long my burn is going to be. So with that, I can kind of go like this and hit now, and you know, now I'm being efficient in my burn. I could be more efficient by, you know, doing this. But I guess if our estimated burn is 20 seconds and our impact is 10, that should be ideal. I've actually never used this. I usually rely on MechJab to tell me when to start my burn. I don't have any kind of signal right now, so I'm stuck at this position, and I think we might come in a little too hard. Oof. So I lost our engines, but I got onto the planet. We actually successfully landed. It does count. So I'll just deploy all our data. and we'll just oh, we can't transmit it right now. We're not in range. So I'll just hold off on everything. Where's that satellite? Oh, now I got signal. This wants to be picky, I guess. So we'll start with our materials bay. I want to monitor my power here. I was wanting to return this data, but oh well. Atmospheric pressure. We'll go over to the next one. Somehow I got 2 seismic scans on there. I don't know why I put 2 of them on there, but we'll transmit this one as well. We did complete our mission. Got lots of funds for it. And now we'll try doing one of the seismic scans. We'll see how much power that drains. I don't know if we'll be able to do both of them. No, we should. We should be able to do both of them. We're just maximizing what we get out of it. Let's see. Okay, I sent both of those. Let's deploy all of them, see what we got. So we can't transfer any more of that. Can't do any more of that. And I guess that's it. We don't get any more seismic. Well, why not? We might as well. It's there. It's not much, but alright. I'll just retract that and close everything up, make it all nice and pretty, and we'll just abandon it here. It is now part of the MUN. And we'll just return to the Space Center. Alright, and as you can see, we got 278, 730,000 funds. And we're going to call this an episode. Thank you guys for watching.